you touched on was this shift that's happening from organizations being externally focused to being employee focused. And what you talked about was, 10 years ago, everyone was talking about customer first, customer focus, customer centricity. They kind of forgot the employee in that story. And so employees were left with, 18, 19 applications. They became the sticky tape for the organization that tried to make everything work. And the reality is they probably weren't delivering on service to the customer. And so there seems to be this mindset shift that if we take care of employees first, they will take care of our customers.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And a lot of conversations we're having with our customers is very much that shift. It's a bit like we digitized the IVR from 10 to 15 years ago. We had a CIO in recently who downloaded all the employee apps. It took up 2 iPhone screens.
Ouch.
Correct. So that's why I call it the digital IVR of what we've created. So we've digitized businesses in each of the verticals. And we've given everyone a nice app, but we really haven't changed the way we work. And we're still asking people to switch between where do I go to find information in the organization, which is really just taking away from them delivering quality services in those moments that really matter for people.
In one of my past lives, I actually spent quite a bit of time with a group of sales and service bankers, and they walked me through how they went about their day. So when a customer called up, what they had to do just to handle that phone call. And the amount of tab flicking they were doing, the copying and pasting into a notes, just into Apple Notes to then copy and paste it into another system. And you just see, just sitting next to them for one day, the anxiety, the frustration, I was ready to throw a computer out the window. So you can only imagine the level of frustration that's been causing employees for them to then get on the phone with a smile on their face and, happiness in their voice to give the customers the great experience. It's almost setting them up for failure.
Yeah, and I think it's even harder for the people in the front line, because they're trying to do it in real time. Like at least at a call center, you're sort of your gap between you and the phone. But I think for the people in the front line, that experience is even further broken and disconnected because they're spending time having to go back into those apps while they're trying to have a face-to-face conversation like you and I are right here and now.
So this shift that's happening to being employee focused, what are you seeing customers start with?
So what I'm really seeing is they're going, okay, we've got to put our employees back at the center of the conversation and go, how do I make it as simple for them to find the information that they need to service the customer? So really what that's looking at is, it's a bit like, how do I create the ChatGPT experience for employees in the future? If we think about portals, we'll probably, and the sort of web pages with all the little icons on it, they will disappear in the next 3 to 5 years. So if we have that mindset shift about how we're going to make it easier for employees and we're going to have these enterprise capabilities, I think that's when we start to think, actually, how are we going to make it easier for our employees overall?
And I know at ServiceNow, this has been a big focus for us over the last 2 to 3 years, is how we can just remove friction for people. And, some of the numbers are staggering. I think it was something like 1.2 million employee hours of productivity unlocked just by creating that one-stop shop across corporate services. Do you want to talk a little bit around, I don't want to call it the now on now story, but it is drinking our own champagne, which is our favorite activity.
Well, we do like drinking champagne. Didn't bring any on the golf course.
Maybe a little bit too much.
Not on the golf course today. So I think what we're seeing from customers is they're going, actually, so you got to blend a few things here now, which is to go, well, how am I going to take advantage of AI and this capability in the future to really simplify that experience for our employees, and what is that going to look like? And what we are pushing now, even from our now on now story, is to go, actually, can we get to a sort of zero help desk that's fully functioning by AI? And can we do that by the end of the year? So how do you set these bold targets and go, actually, because that's going to unlock huge amounts of productivity. We had a customer at World Forum talk about their sort of implementation of generative AI and how it's saving their agents, but they're saving like 10 FTEs worth of effort over a year now. That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, huge amount. So what else have you seen, though, Kat, in this space?
I think a lot of it is just removing complexity and simplifying that experience. We still deal with a lot of organizations that will have 7 or 8 different employee portals, and the employee needs to know where to go to get the answer they're looking for. And sometimes it's obvious, if you've got a problem with your computer, you go to IT. If you've got a problem with your your job role, you go to HR. I still, at my age, at my old age, I still don't know when to go to procurement versus finance versus payroll and all those financial type, challenges that we face. I have no idea where to go for that stuff.
Yeah.
So even organizations just sitting back and going, hey, let's just give them that one screen, that one place to go to.
Yeah.
They don't need to know who needs to answer this question. Even just taking away that complexity prevents them from spending half an hour trawling through websites and articles to try and find who they need to go for.
Yeah, and that's why I go, you're going to end up with this sort of, it's not going to be a portal. It'll just be the sort of chat experience. So you'll have a chat experience with the enterprise, and you'll just go, I need to get access to my payroll, or I've got a question about procurement, and it will direct you where you need to go. And I think that for me is really exciting, because it's still, today you still turn up to portals and you still have to go, oh, where am I going? And most portals are designed about organization hierarchy, not about people journey. And I think for something like ServiceNow, it's one thing we've done really well is to actually design around it based around a persona, but also around the journey you have within the organization. So you're not having to think about the hierarchy or the organization structure in getting work done.
I've got to say though, like, even though it all makes sense and it's entirely logical, it's still so uncomfortable to think about not thinking of customer first. And the way I explain it to people, it's like when you're sitting on an airplane, you've got your kids sitting next to you and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. Like, logically, that makes a lot of sense. But as a parent, you sit there going, hell no. Organizations need to think like that. You've got to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can take care of your customers. And for me, the oxygen mask is making it quick and easy for people to do their jobs.
Yeah, love that analogy.